Welcome, everybody. How's it going? I am Eric. This is Robert. Today it is In the
Oh,
Spotlight. It is Scream Stream Edition. And so Robert is joining with me today. We have an amazing guest for you guys, Mr. David Howard Thornton. You will know him as the Terrifier, Art the Clown. Definitely, like I said, we are excited for this one, Robert. We've talked about it and definitely looking forward to it. So we appreciate if you're watching on the rewind. Thank you so much. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Like I said, so you get notifications because we will continue to have guests show up and have more interviews like this down the road. But we want to go ahead and see, Robert, who might be in the chat. So let's give a little hi. Let's ask Art the Clown to give us a little hi here real quick. Yeah, he's got his hi for you. So we have Christina Payne, Tats, Horror Collector Fiend. How are you guys? I appreciate you guys being here. You guys also, just let you know, we may be giving some stuff away a little bit later on. So you have an opportunity to be doing that. Got to be active in the chat. But we definitely have a show for you today. And so, Robert, are you excited?
I am really looking forward to this. This is actually one of the films that I watched during lockdown. So definitely looking forward to have some good questions that I want to ask, and just really me and clowns. So really excited, really looking forward to this.
Well, when you watch something like this in lockdown and then you can't get out and you're like, okay, now I'm scared, because like you're checking the closets underneath your bed, you're like, all right, like I've already got my mind working, things are going, but definitely we want to have a little bit of fun. We are going to bring our guest on, but let's go ahead and kick off our show like we normally do. We're going to bring in our, basically our intro. I did a little bit different this time because it is Scream Stream Edition. So let's go ahead. And welcome, David Howard Thornton. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Glad to be here. Love that intro. That was spooky.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Like I said, I had to have a little fun with it. And that's kind of what we do here. We do things a little bit different on the interview side, where we do like to treat our guest and just let them know that we are welcoming them, appreciating them for being here. So Mr. David Howard Thornton, now obviously we also know you as the Terrifier, Art the Clown. It's such an honor, such a pleasure to have you here. It really, truly is. So what I'm going to say, guys, in 1860, the world gave us technology for silent films, age of the silver screen. And in 1903, we had the Great Train Robbery burst onto the scene. But one thing silent films did not rob us of was inspirational artists such as Buster Keaton, Douglas Fairbanks, Groucho Marx, and the great Charlie Chaplin. And even in later years, Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean. Those inspirations went on to inspire our guest today. So ladies and gentlemen, he is silent and deadly, but today we have the privilege of sitting down with Art the Clown himself, Mr. David Howard Thornton, on the film The Terrifier. Now, you have some history with some of the silent films.
I do.
And so tell us a little bit about that. How did you come into the love for some of that?
That was just growing up in my household. Like my parents and my mom's parents were big into the silent films. They were like, you need to watch these. These are great people to learn from, great comedians. And so I did. I loved them. And basically, when I was about 12 or 13 years old, my aunt gifted me a box set of Mr. Bean videos for Christmas. And I would just yes, yeah, I would sit there and just watch those over and over and over and over and over, and 'cause I just love that style of comedy because it translates across the world. You don't have to worry about what language it is in. You can watch a silent film actor and appreciate it no matter where you are worldwide, and that's what I love about it too. Yes. And I think that's what really started my love for the genre. And after that, I really started watching more of it. So that's when I really delved deep into like Marx Brothers films, because I really like those a lot, because not only would you would have like the silent comedy was Harpo, they would end up doing musical numbers using silent comedy as well. Like Harpo would sit there doing his harp routine. He'll be eating an apple and he'd be like putting it through the the harp and like using it to peel the apple. I'm like, this is brilliant. It's brilliant comedy, and it's something you don't really see that much anymore. And I'm glad I had an opportunity to kind of bring it back in some ways, but in a different type of way.
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely a different type of way in regards, just the role in itself, not having to be able to talk. And you're now now, I know that somebody else had played, Art the Clown previously in regards, Mike Gianelli. And the thing is obviously then you took that on and you took it in your own direction. You obviously used something that he provided,
Right.
a platform, but you also decided to make it your own. So what went into that process? Like when you go into the audition and you find out what you're going to do, where's that thought process for you?
That was kind of one of those things where I watched because I had seen All Hallows Eve even before I knew about the auditions for Terrifier, so I already loved the character. And I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, God, I would love to have a chance to play a character like that. He's like an evil Mr. Bean, and I always wanted to play a Mr. Bean-like character because I think that would be such a great challenge as an actor to, utilize some like physical comedy in that way, especially silent comedian type of style, I guess you could say. And so when that role came around, I was like, oh, I have to do this. So that's what I did. I went back and rewatched All Hallows Eve just so I could get an idea what Mike brought to the character. And I liked what he did. He, built a very solid foundation for me to, start off with. But then I noticed that he didn't really bring a lot of the clownish aspects to the character like I wanted. Like I would have done. So that's what I want to do. It's like I want to bring more of the physicality to the character because at that time period in my life, I had just finished doing 5 tours of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the musical, and our Grinch was Stephen Carl, who played Robbie Rotten on the show Lazy Town. And Stephen was a master at physical comedy. He did a lot of that with the Grinch role. So after 5 years of watching him do his thing, I added a lot of that type of cartoonish, characterization to art, and I figured that would kind of make him a little bit freakier because he looks kind of human, but he's doing some very inhuman things, over the top things, and that's what I want to bring to it. So that's what I did.
Well, you obviously you nailed it. It created a phenomenon like a cult following, and it has allowed you to dive into Terrifier 2 and possibly 3 on the horizon, because I know they've spoken about doing a trilogy and seeing where that might go. So we are excited for part 2 to come out. And I know that you were supposed to do it last year, but obviously got pushed back. So we are excited for the anticipation. Now, is there an idea when the trailer, is it something maybe in October that we're looking for this movie, or?
I have no idea. We're hoping. Okay. Right now it's all up to, how quickly we can get it edited and into the hands of distribution. And because we're going to have to find a distribution for it after it's all edited. So who knows how long that's going to take. But I have a feeling it's going to go a lot better this time for distribution than it did last time. Because last time for Terrifier, we almost had to do self-distribution until Dread Central picked us up. to Steve Barton, who's Uncle Creepy. He saw us at a screening in LA when we were just doing little screenings here or there at different festivals. He's like, "Oh my gosh, this is got to see the light of day to mass audiences." So he picked us up. He's like, he went to Dread Central, like, "You guys have got to pick up this movie." So I think this time around, whoever would pass on us just doesn't want to make money.
You definitely, and there's some crowdfunding, to where some people can donate and put time into it, or the money, but they also get to be on the set, right?
Yes.
So that must be, obviously a joy for them to be able to do that. But even for you, what's that like, interacting with, the people that that love this movie or behind it 100%, but now they get an opportunity to be like, hey, I get to be killed by the Terrifier, I get to be in a scene, and then, oh, by the way, David Howard Thornton, how are you? So what's that like?
Oh, I would say that was the most fun week we had on set. And the funny thing was, this is a big, huge set piece that before we filmed it, we were so afraid of filming this scene because there's so many elements to it and so many stunts that could go horribly wrong. And so we were very stressed. But that ended up being the most fun week we had on set, because I think having the fans there on set being part of this scene, it was like letting us see the film through fresh eyes, because we had been doing it for a few months already, through some very miserable conditions too, filming in the winter. So it was nice coming on set and seeing all these people that are so excited to be there and seeing what it was like being on a set for their first time. So that was fun. What was so funny about it too was, like, I think they were so excited. So when they're having to die, we had to keep telling them, don't smile. Because we had some people that are just, they're in the middle of their death. They're just like, because they're just so excited to be doing
It's like, okay, here's this guy who's about to kill me looking like this, and you're smiling. You're like, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. It was just a fun week. It was a fun week. And I wouldn't trade that in for anything. It's just because these were people that were true fans. They had and helped us out, a lot on getting this movie started, because I'd say most of the film is funded by the fans, and every dime that we were able to raise was put to very good use, because making films is not a cheap thing to do. And we're still not a big Hollywood budget movie. We're not even a multi-million-dollar movie. So every dime was put to good use, and I'm constantly amazed about what we were able to pull off with the budget that we had. And it's thanks to the fans.
We do have somebody in the chat. They're saying, if they want to make a horror film, like if you're starting out, like what would you suggest, like with some of your experience that you've gone through now? And I know, horror is something that you came into, right? But what would you say to somebody that's like, I've been thinking about horror films and making them, like, what would you suggest?
I would suggest start small, like do little, like some short films or something like that. I think that's how Damon kind of got started, was doing those with some friends and just kind of built his way up from there. I would say definitely watch a lot of horror films and find inspiration in those. And because I look at Damon, why Damon's been so good at this is because he's a true horror fan. He grew up watching horror films when he was like 3 or 4 years old. He's literally named after Damien from The Omen. So he's like, he's a walking encyclopedia when it comes to horror films.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Oh, yeah. So, and I think that's what it is. It's like when you get people that are actually passionate about the genre, making the films in that genre, that's when you get the better products, because they're going to put everything they have into it, making the best it's going to be, because they make the films they want to see.
Well, and that's what's kind of frustrating, because I know, like, Freddy versus Jason, the director Ronnie Yu never even saw any Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but yet here he is trying to bring these two icons together. Yeah. And even though I enjoyed it because I liked seeing them, but it wasn't the film that you would hope for. And you definitely, even in some of the scary movies, if you go back and watch some of them with budgeting and special effects, like I saw this one horror film where they were going to crash through the window, but the window broke before they crashed through it. And and then there was another time where you can go back, and there was an ironing board on the scene in between like the two scenes and stuff, and you're just like, okay, like don't you guys catch up on these things? Like, when you're watching a horror movie, I mean, that's the fun part, is like, oh, come on, like, did you see that? And but with you guys now, what was different about this type of film, you really wanted to ramp it up. You really wanted with the special effects. And I know a lot of people, it's like they like the gore, but then sometimes people like the suspense, and sometimes there's like, oh, it's too gory for me. But the big budget movies are kind of getting away from that. They're investing a lot, and it's like they're missing the boat a little bit, because some of the fans really want to see, if it's a horror movie, I mean, it's not like the killer's going to say, oh, let me go ahead and dust you off. I'm gonna kill you, but I'm gonna do it gently. So obviously you're going to see some of that. There was a scene that was, a lot of people talked about maybe possibly coming out, and it stayed in. And you had some influence behind that. Can you explain that the one scene that we're talking about, where obviously you had some prosthetics, you had like a lifelike type bodies, so you were hacking away. So obviously, what goes into that, because that's important to have that generate on the screen as realism.
Yeah, I guess you're talking about the infamous hacksaw scene, correct? Yeah. Yeah, that was one of those things. So, like, when I first read it in the script, I expected it to be like you see in most films where, okay, he's just giving a description of what happens, but we're not going to show it all. We're going to show, like, the before and then the after. We're not going to show the actual kill happening. But he's like writing it out very descriptively what's going on. I'm like, so I contacted Damon, like, wait, are we actually going to show all of this? He's like, yes, we are going to show the whole entire, we're going to show you actually cutting through this body and everything coming out of it. I'm like, that's insane. I am totally on board for that, because you don't see that in these films that much anymore. It's very rare to see that. So it's like, oh, I was totally on board for that. So it was actually a complicated scene to film, because there were a lot of elements that went into it. First of all, we filmed it in two different locations, basically, because like the first location where we filmed all the stuff with Jenna Cannell, because we had to film her stuff first, because she had to go film the Bye Bye Man, like literally 2 days from when she left set, she was on set of Bye Bye Man. So we had to film her stuff first in New Jersey. Then we had to end up leaving that location for some unforeseen reasons. That's like, we're kind of glad we got out of that place. But so like the stuff you see with Catherine, it was filmed in Staten Island instead 2 months later, in like freezing temperatures too. It was 20 degrees that night. She's having to do all that stuff in this room that had no heat, and oh my gosh! So it was brutal, because we only had 30 seconds at a time to film, because it's so dangerous to hang someone upside down for extended periods of time. So that was very stressful. And so we would, flip her down real quick, film real quick, flip her back up, let her rest, just kind of, that was a stressful night, very stressful night. And then we did that. Then we filmed all the prosthetic another night, where I actually cut through it. And that was a little bit more fun, because like, okay, now I can actually there's no stress about actually hurting somebody. I can just cut through this thing and have some fun with it. So we did. But there was an accident that happened with that too, with the guts that spill out, the intestines they were made with sausage casings with fat shoved inside of them, so it looked like intestines. And we were originally supposed to film the scene with Dawn getting killed 2 weeks prior, but there was flooding in the room, so we had to postpone it 2 weeks. So we had those intestines ready to go, but our DP took them home with them, but forgot to refrigerate them.
Oh, wow.
So we opened them that night 2 weeks later. We're like, oh, God.
Wow.
It was the most vile. It was vile. It was, oh, God. It's a good thing we weren't running sound that night, because you just hear everybody on set just, oh. Because the smell was so bad, and especially when I accidentally cut into him with the blade, I was like, "I'm so sorry, God, I'm so sorry." So yeah, but it turned out well. And what was so funny about it is, like, going back to distribution, we actually had problems with distribution originally, because we had some studios that wanted to put us in theaters, but they wanted to make massive cuts to the film, and that was one of the massive cuts they wanted to make, was not showing most of that scene. And Damien was absolutely not. You were going to show this scene, or you're not getting the film. And I'm glad he stuck to his guns.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, that's your work. That's your baby. You're putting a lot into it, and you're investing in it. Like I said, so I mean, it's like there's going to be somebody else that's going to take it on. I mean,
yeah,
you know, with gore and stuff like that, there is going to be somebody that's going to want to take that on. And now that you lead into Terrifier 2, you have to top that, right? I mean, there's. I mean, I'm sure like there's going to be some exciting stuff that's going to be happening here. Now, does this happen in where you got to come right off out of the gates, you know, like a Scream type of scenario, or does it build up to it? Or I mean, what are we looking at here for Terrifier 2?
Well, one thing like Damien and I talked about after because like he's big into reading all of the reviews that come out, the positive and negative. He reads everything and takes them to heart. And that's one thing we talked about. It's like we have set the bar kind of high for ourselves with Terrifier 2. Okay, so what can we do? We have a lot of expectations on us now, so oh crap. So one thing we said is like, you know, one thing people always remember about a movie is the beginning and the ending. So you have to start it off with a bang and end it in a bang. And they'll usually forgive whatever happens in the middle if things don't go out as well as you want them to. So that's one of the things we set out to do, is start the movie off with a huge set piece and end it on a huge set piece. So it starts off in the first 5 minutes, we would probably get an NC-17 rating.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then, you know, we believe on taking people for a roller coaster ride. So it's like it's a lot of ups and downs, and we have a lot more character development, a lot more plot development in this one, especially for our new heroine. Where this is like I kind of look at Terrifier 1 as being an arts movie, setting art up. Terrifier 2 is setting this new heroine up. So it's a lot her story, but trust me, art's in it most of the film too. So don't worry, he's not just going to come in every 20 minutes or so. He's front and center, but we also wanted to have a nice balance between those two characters. So I think those, you know, moments with her are some good breathing areas for the audience before we smack them again in the face. So, and there is a scene that I think will definitely, at least be equal to the hacksaw scene, if not top it. That happens. Good.
Yeah, I would imagine. I would imagine there'd have to be some, like, you know, there's that having to sit there and be like, well, we have to do something that has to at least equal that.
Yeah. And what we finished filming it right before Christmas, and what was originally written before the pandemic was good. And we started filming it before the pandemic, but the pandemic allowed Damien to really sit back and have time to flesh out that kill. And he decided to change some things and make it bigger. And so we actually scrapped what we originally filmed and came back and just started fresh. It took about a week to film this scene because there are just so many elements to it.
What's it like? Was it like coming back, you know, now during the pandemic, trying to get everything, you know, situated and to perform, or just do the job that you're so used to doing in one way, and all of a sudden on top of that there's restrictions and all?
Yeah, that was definitely a little bit more difficult because, for one, we had to comply with all the SAG rules that they had mandated, so that kind of limited a lot what we could do because we're a smaller budget film. So we weren't able to have the whole entire crew for these last scenes, so we had to just bring in a skeleton crew, just the essentials, which it would suck because it's fun having the whole gang there, and because we all have fun together. But at the same time, I guess we were more focused because we didn't have as many people, that way distracting us. But there were a lot more limitations because it's challenging when you all have to wear masks and quarantine yourselves and stuff like that. I can't wear a mask on set once I have my makeup on. So.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like, well, it will be very difficult to put after you do all the makeup or prosthetics to then put that on. So yeah.
But if you do want a mask in the pandemic with the Terrifier,
Mhm.
We do have those are out there, so you
Yep.
can find those.
Yeah.
Um,
Those are fun to wear in public. You
Yeah.
get some strange looks from people.
They're like, oh my god, what? Um, so now you don't seem to be a method type actor. You seem to be able to be a character type actor. You created a memorable performance. Do you identify like questions to your role for preparation, such as like, who am I? You know, what surrounds me? There was an actress, Uta Hagen. She held a lot of influence in 20th century American theater, and teaching at Herbert Berghoff Studio in New York. She was an influence with craft and technology of theater, and the techniques and everything. So, do you identify questions, or what's preparation for you? You know, I mean, now you've gotten the role down, but
Right.
heading into this, the second one, what's your preparation like? What kind of techniques?
Well, yeah, I basically my first day on set. Well, actually, the first when I went in for my makeup test, actually, I sat down because it was Damien doing all my makeup, so we had like 3 hours just to sit there and talk. And that was my first thing. It's like, tell me everything about this character. You created him. I want to know everything. What you want with him and all that. And he's like, you know what? Funny thing is, I really haven't really thought out his whole backstory yet. So I just thought he was a cool character. He's kind of scary and stuff like that. It's like, why don't we just come up with this together? So that's what we've done when we were filming Terrifier 1. And we to this day, we're still fleshing things out in our heads about who he is and what motivates him and everything like that. And so it's been one of those processes where Damien and I were discovering the character together a lot, right before we started making the film. And I think that was kind of fun. And I think like, I remember there was like that one line that the cat lady says in the movie. It's like he's doing this because he thinks it's funny, and I'm like, I like that. That's like he's not one of those killers that's doing this out of revenge or anything. He's doing this because it amuses him. And I think that's why he's like the anti-clown, because clowns do everything to amuse other people. They want to bring joy to other people. He wants to bring misery to other people, and that misery he brings to other people brings him joy. It's all about what he can do to entertain himself, and that's where I really just started, developing the character from that. It's like he's doing everything what he thinks is funny.
And everybody needs a good clown in the neighborhood, right? I mean, it's
Oh,
a big
yes.
thing in the neighborhood. Everybody needs one.
Won't you be my slaver?
Now, Robert is also, he does a lot of German expressionism, dealing with a lot of the back in the day of silent films and things like that. Robert, you had a few things that you kind of wanted to go over.
Yeah. So my background also, in addition, before I became assistant principal, I taught film studies for the last 10 years. So it's one class. This year I couldn't teach a class, so I'm like, I want to teach it again so bad. Yeah. I miss it. But one big thing that I focused on was German expressionism, silent film, some famous movie stars such as Lon Chaney Sr.
Yes.
And I'm sure the man of 1,000 faces, as they referred to him as. Did you use any of those characters to influence some of the? There he is.
Yes.
Did you use any of that to, like? How did you come about let's say, the personality of Art the Clown? Just in little things that you did were just so amazing.
Yeah, that's basically the way I just kind of mashed everything together. My love of the silent, film actors, both the comedic ones and like Lon Chaney, even like Karloff, all those guys, just like there's so much to learn from watching them because they were able to convey so much without any words. It's just like just the expression on the face, the movements are just look at that. It's just
exactly.
I love it. I just absolutely love watching that. And I just matched that with my love of horror villains, because I see Art as being like the ultimate horror fanboy. He's a little bit of every single slasher that came before him. There's bits of Freddy, of course, Jason, Michael Myers, Pinhead, Leatherface, Chucky. All of them are in Art. And so that's why I just blend them all together in my head. And it's funny that you mentioned Lon Chaney, because when we were filming part 2, there was a moment that happened, and Damien actually, when we cut, he's like, David, I want you to watch what you just did, because I don't think you did this intentionally, but it came across this way. He's like, you looked so much like Lon Chaney in this moment here. You just had this reaction that was just so Lon Chaney, and I'm like, oh my god! And I watched it, like, that was that's great. It was just so unintentional, but it's one of those things I just have in the back of my head, is that theatricality that they had that you don't see in modern cinema anymore. Because those actors back then, they transitioned from being on vaudeville and being on the stage to film, and so they were used to performing in front of a large audience. So a lot of their body movements were a lot more exaggerated because they're used to performing to the very back of the house.
Yeah. And then with sound not coming out really until 1927 with the Jazz Singer, one of the things that a lot of these actors had to do was, you have to in a sense, overact, but just to kind of convey
Correct.
that.
And
so what was it? Yeah.
That's exactly what I brought into art. It's like he has to kind of overdo everything.
Yeah. Because there's no speaking, there's not even grunting or any of that, correct?
Right. Oh God, I can just watch this stuff all day. It's just.
Now, what's interesting is just you're the combined element of just the fact that, okay, you have the obvious scary part, but you made it so like humorous at the same time, and like these little things, especially the sitting down at the pizzeria, correct? What was that like? What went into that when you were filming that scene? Just sitting there looking at her, because I would have been horrified seeing something like that, and I like horror, but. Just sitting there.
I kind of pulled that from just experiences I've noticed here in New York City, because I love to people watch. It's a great city to live in to people watch, because you see all types of people. But for that especially, because that's such a creepy scene, and I kind of pulled from experiences like my female friends and female roommates have dealt with on the subways, especially, are guys that will just sit there and just stare at you. And that's what I brought into that. I was like, yeah, this is just that kind of lecherous creep that would just sit there and stare at you for no reason. I've even had people do that to me on the subway, and it's kind of weird. You just kind of feel someone staring at you. You're like, okay, stop.
Yeah.
I even did that even before I moved to New York, when I was a camp counselor one year, at a summer camp. I had these kids that are middle schoolers that are older, so I wouldn't do this to the younger ones, but it was like older ones. They're like, 14, 15. They're messing around in the back of the bus, just, trying to be a little, and they weren't listening to, guys, settle down. And they weren't listening to me. So I ended up just staring at them, but with this Joker, just little. And at first I'm like, okay, cool. Cool, man. That's cool. Okay, haha, funny. And I just kept staring at them and trying not to blink. It ended up a few minutes. I'm just staring, and I'm still staring at them. Like, okay, please stop, please stop. Okay, stop. This is not funny anymore. Just stop. I almost got this one kid. He's like a football player. I almost got him crying because he was just getting so creeped out by me. And I'm like, okay, you're going to behave now? And they're like, yes. Don't do that anymore.
Only they need, what their reaction to be seeing you now. Like, oh my God, that was my counselor.
Yeah.
Now, we do have somebody in the chat had asked if you had come across meeting some people, like actors and things like that. And I noticed that you did have a little bit of an interaction at one point where you were doing your makeup and he was doing his makeup.
Yes.
Sid Haig, you had that opportunity, such an inspiration there. What was that like, having that opportunity?
Oh, man. It's just like, if I had realized just how special that was in the moment, I already realized it was special, but just how really special that was, I would have even taken in more. It was at Mad Monster Party 2 years ago down in North Carolina, which is going on this weekend too, Mad Monster Party. But wish I was there, but COVID. But plus I've been filming. I didn't know if, how things were going to go. But gosh, that was amazing, because we're getting our makeup done at the same time in the room together. And that was my first time really meeting Sid as well. And it was kind of like a passing of the torch in some ways. we're like on his way out of the room because we're sitting there trading quips with each other the whole entire time, joking around. Sergeant Slaughter even walked through the room at one point and just kind of looks at us, goes, "Okay." So that was kind of surreal too. I was like, "Oh my god, it's Sergeant Slaughter." As a true kid of the '80s, I was like, "I had you as an action figure," but it was like that was such an amazing moment because he walks out after he came over. We got our picture made together, and he goes to go do his photo ops, and he just turns around and goes, "Seeing her to the big top, kid." And I kind of looked at that as like a little passing of the torch and everything like that. And we had done a few conventions together, afterwards, and I had some great conversations with him. Sid was just such a kind, generous man, and had so many stories. Oh my god, he was a great storyteller. But one thing I always noticed about him was even when he was sick, he was the first person on the floor at conventions and the last person to leave the floor. I would always try to beat him to the floor every morning, and he would still be there before me. I'm like, how do you do this?
You're like,
he
I'm
was
gonna
just
spend the night. I'm gonna spend the night there.
But it spoke volumes to me that even though he was sick at that point, he was very tired because I know what cancer, because I lost my mom to cancer, so I know what it does to you. And even as tired as he was so dedicated to being there for his fans. And that really spoke volumes to me about his character. And I was like, that's something else. It is. I'm lucky to just have been able to know him just for that short period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a great inspiration. I wish I would have had the opportunity to meet him. This is actually one of the things that we're going to be giving away today, guys. In one of the things in fashion is you do have the Sid Haig card.
Yes.
So you'll have an opportunity to get some of these guys right here.
Oh yes.
And of course with Freddie. So these three will be as a collecting. But I wanted to ask you, because of, like going through this experience as the clown, you've had an opportunity with Damien, building that relationship. How has that been now that you seem to have that really good rapport? Like, is there any other interest in collaborations down the road that you guys are talking about? Because eventually, you can't, I don't see Terrifier 10 happening, but eventually you're going to move on to different type of projects. But you guys have a really good rapport, it feels like.
Oh, definitely. God, we're like brothers now. It's because we've spent hundreds of hours now together in the makeup chair alone. That's not even counting on screen and working behind the camera and everything together. It's just so we've built up such a good relationship with each other. It's great. I totally understand like the Tim Burton Johnny Depp relationship now, or like the Guillermo del Toro and Doug Jones relationship. I'm like, yeah, of course.
And
it's
then
like you get so used to working with that person, you build that friendship with each other. See, there's that mutual trust there, and that's what I think is great about Damien. He's one of these great directors for actors because he trusts the people he casts, and he's okay with people suggesting things. And I will come up with something. He's like, hey, let's try it out. So we'll sometimes do different takes on the same scene. We'll do a more serious or scary take, and then we'll do something a little bit sillier and see what works.
Well, we like I said, when you talk about trust and people in relationships, Robert himself, he has somebody that trusts in him very well. And what we're going to do, guys, we're going to take a little quick little commercial break, and we're going to have somebody let you guys know we do a scream stream. Robert and I do, and we occasionally will be bringing that back. We're going to take a little quick break, and Robert's going to introduce David to his trust. So real quick, guys, let's take that little break.
Hello. Do you like scary streams? Who's your favorite horror team? Now listen to me. Be sure to check out Scream Stream. And maybe for you there'll be a bonus round. But for poor Logan and Jacob, I'm afraid they won't make the team. They've been cut.
All right, and we're back after that commercial break. And just so you guys know as well, on Cameo, you can even get yourself, Mr. David Howard Thornton, to do some cameos for you as well. And that's one of the things that has been really good, I think, in the pandemic to reach out and have some stars be able to do stuff like this is amazing. I think it's a great way to interact with the fans and go from there. David, now, when you look at Robert, like I said, he definitely he has some talent too. And that's one of the reasons why we've worked so well together is I've got my things that I do and he has his things that he does. And Robert would like to introduce you to his better half, who trusts Robert pretty well. So we're going to introduce you to Pagliacci. He's our version of the clown. And yeah, so Robert.
Oh my God.
Hey. Well, what a pleasure to meet you.
Nice meeting you too, man.
I'm just in awe here. I'm a big fan of your work. Love the mutilation that you do. I am Pagliacci. It is a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you too. Glad to see your performance isn't so wooden.
Oh, yes. Try not to be as stiff,
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm really, really the star here compared to Robert. So I'm the one that runs things. So I just figured, give him some guidance in here. Like, hey, this is what you got to say. But what my question to you is, what do you think is the big deal with people being afraid of clowns anyway? The fear of clown, coulrophobia, I believe it's called.
I think what it is, it's clowns walk that fine line of the uncanny valley because they look human, but just not human enough because everything's exaggerated. Yeah, it's like their movements are exaggerated, their look is exaggerated, so it has that inhuman type of look to them. I think that's what kind of freaks people out.
Well, you also have that de-individualization where the individual's identity is obscured. And so it creates that unknown. Like, what is it? Is this person going to amuse me? Are they going to attack me? Like, so it's like that, okay, what's going on here? And I know that we're supposed to look at clowns, happily, but I don't think that's quite the case. I think a lot of kids find the clowns to be creeped out, even, along the lines of Ronald McDonald, in regards when you look at him, right? It's like, okay, so where does that, you've been able to add to that fear recently with your performance, and then obviously with the clowns having, on the side of the roads with the balloons.
Yes.
So there's definitely that fear aspect. And then of course, Pagliacci wants to make sure that he's known, he's always got to throw his fear around.
Of course. Mate, I mean, did you have any particular influence of any clowns in particular for yours?
Oh yeah, I'm like, well, I wish I could say, I killed as many people as Ronald McDonald has, though. Yeah, I think he's got the highest death count.
Not many people mention or think that. That's actually a very good point.
Yeah, he's very creative with his kills. It's like, I'm going to kill you with heart disease. But yeah, I would say the big influence for me is right over your right shoulder over there is the Joker. I put a lot of Joker into my rendition of art too. It's like I love Joker.
So can you give us a little bit of your Joker, your voice, how it is for you?
Well, I have no problem bringing Joker up whenever someone needs me to. I always put a smile on my face when I do it.
Awesome.
That is amazing.
Thank you.
Now, going into, do you find that, you're obviously getting into that. You didn't get into acting, or that wasn't your first thing that you started to do. You were doing something else, and then you got into this role with the horror, and now you're taking on the Joker. And I know you've done some voice for, video games. so how has this all transitioned? Like, have you always wanted to do acting? You know, where has it started from?
Well, I mean, I oddly enough started doing church theater of all things growing up. It's kind of funny now that I kill people for a living. So it's like, So I always loved acting. I especially discovered my love for it back when I was in middle school because I was bullied a lot in school. And that year we were doing our choral program was doing a Mickey's Christmas Carol. And my mom suggested me to audition for that because I was always goofy and funny around the house. But her thing was like, "Oh, have your classmates ever seen this side of you?" And I'm like, "No." It's like, "Well, why don't you let them be it? This is a chance for them to be able to see this side of you. Why don't you audition for this?" So I got cast as the role of Mickey in that. And we had stuff go wrong on stage. Like the set fell apart. And usually when stuff like that happens, especially with kids, they just kind of stand there and freeze until things get, fixed. And instead, I just started riffing in the moment in character as Mickey. And I was like, "Oh, Mr. Scrooge, I think we have rats." And I just started making jokes until things got fixed. And I had the audience in the palm of my hand. They're just all dying laughing. And I was like, I like this feeling. I like this because I was in control. And for the first time at that school, I didn't have people laughing at me. I had them laughing with me, and I loved that feeling, and I wanted more of that. And I was like, I want to do this more. And so that's when I really started doing community theater, and that's when I really started doing a lot more comedy. And I was like, I love doing this. But when I went to college, I was trying to be practical, and I was like, as much as I love doing theater and I love acting, I know it's a hard career to get into. It's the likelihood of actually making a career out of it's very slim. So I was like, okay, well, I could do this on the side, do community theater or whatnot, but I also love kids. So, and I come from 4 generations of teachers in my family, so like, why don't I study to be a teacher instead? And that's what I did. I got my degree in elementary education, but my right before I started doing my internship, my mom passed away from cancer. And so that kind of changed my whole perspective on life. And I was very unhappy when I went back to school. I had a lot of other stuff happen about a year later when I was going for my internship. Like in the course of a month, my dog died, my grandmother died, a friend of mine committed suicide, and my sister married a homeless man.
Oh, wow.
And this, like I said, a year after my mom died. So my brain was basically fried. I was just in such a state of depression. And I was making mistakes left and right in the classroom. I was like, why am I making these mistakes? This is so unlike me. And I had an epiphany one day when I was reading stories during story time to my students. And I was doing the little voices for the characters in the book. And they're all just laughing. And I was having so much fun doing it. I was like, I think I enjoy entertaining people more than I do teaching people, and I think this is really what I need to do with my life. This is my calling.
Yeah.
And I had a discussion with my dad, and I expected him to, say, no, you need to stick with this because that's a stable career. But he's like, no, your mother and I always thought you should be an actor, but we didn't want to tell you what to do with your life. We wanted you to discover what you want to do yourself, whatever makes you happy. You go and do it. And that's what I did, and I haven't looked back since. I finished my degree, and then I moved up to New York City.
Nice. Well, I mean, that's awesome because, I mean, for some people, that could really put them in a different direction. And, and definitely not pursue something and not go forward. And I know even for myself, my mom has stage 4 lung cancer, and she's battling it. And, and it's really difficult and hard because she was here and with me and the boys. And, but she's battling, and that's all you can have right now. But at the same time, when you go through life, you need to things happen and they show you things, and obviously this showed you a direction that you needed to be. And I mean, you put in a great performance in a lot of your stuff that you've been doing. So definitely from there. Now Pagliacci, now, is Robert reading any books lately? Because I know Robert tries to get smart with some books. What's Robert reading, Pagliacci?
Yes, he is reading Ready Player 2.
I just finished that.
Yes, we saw that. It's funny that of course I was on Instagram and I saw it and I was like, oh, we're reading the same book too.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely love the whole concept of this. Just it's like every pop culture reference you can love in the
Yes.
first one, and then it's the second one. Oh, love it, love it, love it. Were you a
Oh,
fan?
me too.
What are
Oh,
your
yes.
thoughts so far, without spoilers?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. I think I like the first book more because that's a very new concept. But the things that they explore in part two, I'm like, especially by the end of the book, I maybe start thinking about things that I like I said, I don't want to spoil anything, especially if I haven't gotten to that part. But I was like, God, that's an interesting concept that they talk about there, and I'm like, I wonder if that could actually happen one day.
Yes, yes. Especially, I always think that we have we got an Oculus actually from Eric, and every time I put it on, I just think of entering the Oasis.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I think we're eventually going to get to that phase with gaming technology. I think I think we're already starting to get there because the Oculus stuff like that, but also like with the new PlayStation 5 with the feedback that they have in the controller. They're more about immersion now because we're getting to that level where you can't really change the graphics and make them that much better like you could. You didn't have those jumps in fidelity and like we used to now. So it's like, okay, what else can we do to keep making this bigger? And I think that's going to be the next step is a full immersion.
Now, you also did some voiceover work for video games.
I have.
And I believe that one of the games, the Invis Animals, The Lost Kingdom.
Yes.
Now, is that something that you're looking to do more of? I mean, the voiceover.
Oh yes, that's actually one of the first things I really wanted to do when I moved here to New York. I was more focused on trying to get either in musical theater, like on Broadway, or doing video games and animation voiceover work.
Okay.
So I love doing voiceover work. It's a fun job because that way you can play characters you could never play otherwise.
Yeah, I think it would be something that I myself would enjoy doing. Definitely. And you know how sometimes as you get older, you start looking back like, God, I wish I could do this. Or like I loved special effects and makeup. My dad, when for Halloween, used to always dress us up like the Wolfman. And, so I have a huge influence from horror, from my family, and it's always continued on. And that's why, like I said, doing something like this with a Scream stream and everything has been just something I just absolutely enjoy. And same thing with Robert. But now, when you look at like some of the things that you've been able to put together, and like you've gone from the Grinch, playing on a musical Broadway of the Grinch, and your Grandpa Who, right? One of the Grandpa
Yes.
Who, yeah. And then now, to the Joker, you have some voiceovers, your Art the Clown. I mean, so is there something that you really want to do, that you want to a challenge that you want to take on? Is there somebody that maybe you want to let's say hypothetically you were crossing over in a film with somebody, is there something that you'd like to do with that?
Yeah, I would like a character I would love to play. Goes back to my love of musical theater. Is something I'm surprised has not been done yet. Is a live stage adaptation of Nightmare Before Christmas. I would love to play Jack Skellington because that would be unlike a lot of roles I've played before, because he's more the straight man. He's more serious. He's not a comedic character at all, and I think he's more like the dramatic type of character. And I think that would be a fun role to take on and stuff like that. Plus, I think that would just be a visually interesting show to see. You could do a lot of interesting stuff with puppetry, I think. So
well, there you go, Disney. See, right there. So get on it. You better get on it, Disney.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, if you could spend the day learning techniques and talking horror from a movie actor or maybe a director, someone in the past, who would you like to go, hang out with?
Ooh, Vincent Price.
Vincent Price.
Vincent Price would be a really interesting person to sit down because he did so much. Because he was someone that was really good at doing just serious and just poop your pants type of scary movies, but he could also do comedy.
Yeah,
and he was a brilliant comedian as well. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's called A Comedy of Terrors that he did with gosh, I think Karloff was in that as well as Peter Lorre, and I think Basil Rathbone might have been in it as well. There were a lot of great horror actors in it, but it's hysterical. It's just like he and this is where I realized how funny Peter Lorre actually was as well. It's like the two of them are so funny together, and I think he would have been an interesting person to learn from.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's. I know the Abominable Dr. Phibes. I remember that, and just Vincent Price with the shows, and just everything in general. He always had a presence. Where no matter what he did, he always brought that presence, and so definitely from there. Robert, did you Pagliacci? I wanted to give you the opportunity. Is there something else, Pagliacci, that you'd like to ask?
Of course. So what do you see yourself like if you got to be another evil clown? What other movie would you, let's say if they got to remake any other film, what other clown would you like to play?
Oh, of course. I mean, there's Joker, of course. that's a given one. But
I think you'd make an amazing Joker.
Oh, thank you.
Great voice.
Thank you. But other than that, oh gosh, I would like to do. He's not necessarily a clown per se, but he was the influence for Joker. It would be the man who was it? The Man Who Laughs.
1928. Yes.
Yes.
Gwynplaine.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, that would be great. Yes. Can you do the smile? Can you try to do a smile there? Oh, there it is.
Now, King Bob in the chat says, if you could play any role in the Rocky Horror, which role would you like to play?
Oh boy, I would love to play Riff Raff.
Riff Raff, okay.
Yeah, Riff Raff. Of course, Frankenfurter would be fun too. But there's something just I like about Riff Raff. He's a fun character.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's such a great movie. So obviously, I mean, to be able to do stuff like that and go now, is there something that would be out of your, like you want to think out the box, right? You obviously want to try to take on something that, you're not sure if you can do it, but you're like, what, like this would be kind of like, I mean, I know you're doing horror Western, right? There's a horror Western that you got coming up.
Yes.
So that's a little bit different. What's going on there?
Well, that's got a little bit on the back burner right now because of COVID and stuff like that. So I'm hoping it's still going on. It's like I don't have a contract signed yet for it, but okay. I'm hoping because it's a fun concept. It's such a fun concept. So yeah.
Hey Melly Mel, how are you? Geeking out with Melly Mel. I wanted to show you, like I said, because we have so much inspiration from such guys like, Marcho or Silent Heroes. So I included you in that. You obviously as being part of that right there. So definitely, I think
I have such a scary face. But I love it.
Time Magazine has recognized you. Silent Stars in the Spotlight. Definitely, and we got a little Charlie Chaplin up front, but I definitely wanted to show that for you. And just let you know, like I said, we appreciate you 100%.
On Zeppo's body, too. I'm okay with that.
And also, in the pop world, a lot of us collect pops. And I know a lot of us would like to see, some Terrifier pops. And some people have made some customs.
Yes. Those are the ones Damien made.
Yeah, and that is absolutely amazing. I would, love to have something like that, I know there's people out there so talented and definitely reaching out to the right people. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we're looking to do. I know Pagliacci, Robert, there was something else that I know that you kind of wanted to go in a direction with, right?
Yes. So let's say if hypothetically, if they were to take the Grinch and turn it into a horror movie, would you play the character the Grinch?
Oh, of course.
Love to see that take on it. What are your thoughts?
I would love to play the Grinch in that. Oh, that would be so much fun.
Can you imagine that concept? Just a horror of the Grinch.
Oh, yes, it would be so much fun. Max, get over here. Oh, don't look at me like that.
So
We have Christmas to steal.
So what would you? There's a lot of people that want to get into voice acting. How do you find your voices in some of the work that you're starting to do and have done?
I really don't know how I find them. It's just they just come to me. It's like when I hear an interesting sounding voice, I somehow am able to mimic it. I have no idea. I guess it's my superpower, as I like to say. It's like it has to be an interesting sounding voice. It just can't be like just some random person just walking down the street like, "Hi, I'm Tim." it's like, but I hear an interesting voice. I sit there and I try to mimic it. And sometimes it comes out the right way.
Now, what going into the Joker? Now, did that? How do you? I mean, because that's a tough one as well. A lot of people have tried to take that on, and I mean, there's some roles that have been iconic, like Mark Hamill, in regards. But I mean, it is a tough sell. But you seem to really sculpt that pretty well.
Well, that's what I did. Is like I wanted to make it my own in my own way, but I am heavily influenced by Mark's performance because I think Mark's performance is the best version out there. Yeah. And it's kind of like you're so used to hearing it. It's like if you heard Joker not sounding like Joker like that in some way, you're like, that's not Joker. It's to me, it's like hearing Bugs Bunny without the Bronx accents. It's just like, like what is this? So I definitely was influenced a lot by Mark's and also Cesar Romero's versions of it because he was just great. It's just. But like, especially with Mark's laugh, he did so much with the laugh that I love. And just there's like videos where it's just a few minutes of the different versions of his laugh, and I love it. I love it. You can find so much inspiration just from that.
I love when he does the eulogy for Batman. Have you seen that?
Oh yes, dear friend. Today is the day that the clown cried. Oh, I love it. The whole well, that was fun. Who's for Chinese?
Yes, I like the. There's a documentary called "I Know That Voice." Are you familiar?
Yes, that's a great documentary.
You have, I mean, there's so many things out there to pull from and inspirations. So I wanted to ask you, like in 2017, nominee for Voice Arts Award, 2018 winner of Fright Meter Award for Best Actor, Terrifier. David, people are taking notice of your performance, and you've helped create a cult following for a huge fan base. And Art the Clown, how has this shaped you so far? With the opportunities and your vision moving forward. How do you see things down the road for you? Because obviously you're taking this and you're running with it.
Right. It's definitely gone a direction I didn't expect. Because like I said, originally I wanted to do, musical theater, voiceover work. And I haven't done a stage production in about 6 years. So I kind of miss being on stage in that regard. But I never imagined I'd do horror. I thought if I ever did a horror, I would be like the Stu kind of character or like, one of those, or the Randy character that gets killed halfway through like the second movie or something like that, the smart ass or something.
There are rules. You got to follow the rules.
Yeah, it's like that's what I imagine I would ever be. I never thought I would be the killer, so I'm like, I'm embracing it because I love playing villains. It's so much fun. But as for where I see things going, I have no idea. I'm just gonna go on this journey and see where it leads to. I've had people ask me if I'm okay with just being typecast as the villains, like, or a killer clown or something. I'm like, yeah, to me, I'm still able to work. Right. And that's the important thing. I can't turn that down. And I find myself to be very fortunate to be able to do this type of work for a living. Is people would kill to be doing what I'm doing right now. So I'm happy to go wherever this road takes me. If it's more voiceover, yay. Is stage work, yay. If it's more horror, yay. If it's more comedy, yay. Because I love doing comedy.
Yeah, I mean, you show that. I mean, that's what's awesome with the clown, because it is like you do have that creepy comedy side of it, and it's like you're mesmerized, but then all of a sudden at the same time, it's like, oh my God, like this guy, like he's going around like there's no motive, no purpose. It's just, he's
Right.
doing it. And, the other thing I wanted to kind of ask was the ending of the Terrifier was a little, like it really gets you because you start thinking from some of the past shows, the one that All Hallows Eve, where is there's a little bit what's going on with Art the Clown? Is there some kind of, is he a demon? Is there something about him that is allowing him to say, you know what, like I do have, like, I mean, obviously Jason Voorhees comes back, Michael Myers comes back. So now Art is coming back. So, what's going on there?
Yeah, I can't really say.
Okay.
We address it more in part 2.
Okay.
There's definitely a supernatural element to the character. I would, I kind of think Art was kind of surprised about coming back from the dead as well. It's like he went out on his own terms in a way, and all of a sudden he's back. So I think I think he has a little bit more bounce in his step in part 2, a little bit more confidence, a little bit more arrogance. He's like, oh, I'm actually back from the dead. I'm stronger than I thought.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that. And like I said, clowns, they're synonymous to death. Clowns are supposed to be scary. But like I said, if not, David Howard Thornton, you, sir, sure have put the fear of clowns in people's minds with your performance. So I definitely appreciate, what you've done and what you've been able to bring to the screen 100%. And I wanted to ask you with fears, because people do have clown fears. Is there fears that you have? Now, I wanted to just kind of go through this a little bit, and you tell me, there's the fear of dolls. Okay.
Okay.
Would you say, for you, like, I mean, now some people, I know when my mom, when I was younger, she had these Victorian dolls.
Yeah.
And they always seemed like they were looking in your direction when you were walking. Did you ever have any experiences with dolls or?
Oh, yeah, they're kind of creepy. They can be very creepy. We actually had an experience with a doll filming part 2.
Okay.
On set, because we part of it is filmed in a haunted house. Ooh. And there was this room in this area that it's a doll room, and there's this one animatronic doll that is motion sensitive, and it's on a swing and starts talking and singing and stuff like that. But they had that whole entire area powered down on set when we were filming there, and there was no, and like I said, even if it was on, it would only be activated by someone walking by it. So we're all on set one night, and we just hear this doll start up a few rooms away from us. This like, ha, 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 come play with me. We're like, no. You're like, that was the creepiest thing. We're just like, what? Because no one else, everybody that was on set was with us in that room filming. And so we're like, how is that thing going off right now?
Annabelle, is that you?
So that was creepy, definitely creepy.
So obviously film haunted houses and things like that. What about with ghosts? Any experiences with, ghosts? Any thoughts on ghosts?
Oh, I totally believe. I've had so many experiences. I guess I'm very sensitive to those things. I've had countless experiences with the paranormal in that regard. Even like the apartment I live in right now, we have weird things that happen here all the time. Okay. From doors opening, hearing sounds, to like full-on apparitions from time to time. I even had like one night where I woke up from a horrible nightmare. It was like a nightmare where I was so scared even when I woke up, and I'm just kind of in a fetal position under my bed, and I felt this hand touch my head to start stroking my head like a mother does to comfort a child when they're scared. And I felt someone sitting on my bed, and I'm like, I did not turn around to look, but I was like, but at the same time, I was like, okay, whatever this is, it's living with us, doesn't mean harm. It could tell I was scared and was trying to calm me down.
So like in the movie The Terrifier, when she's taking you and
But I didn't kill
I had something similar to that where like I woke up and I started yelling and I was like, get out. But I felt like there was something there, but not there. And it was like, I had to sit there and be like, okay, I got to get up, go downstairs. Like I can't go back to sleep. But I mean, it's funny how you get those, and they do come on from time to time.
It is very strange. It's one of those things. It's hard to explain unless you've actually experienced it yourself. Where it's like the hackles just go up on your neck, and you just feel that there's something there.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Let me double see if there's a. Do you think that your experiences with the paranormal have influenced some of the projects that you decided to work on?
I don't think so. No, it's something that's just always interested me. I haven't really done anything that deals with ghosts per se, so but I do love it. I find it absolutely fascinating. I think there's got to be some kind of scientific explanation for it that we just haven't discovered yet.
Yeah, just like Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
What about sharks? I mean, being where you are, you visit the beach. You have any, with Jaws, when it came out, do you have any? Your feeling about going places, with the beach and stuff? Do you have any fears of sharks?
I'm careful. It's like I had an experience like a year after it's actually the year that my mom died. I went to the beach with one of my friends, and it's down there in Gulf Shores, Alabama. And the previous year, they had a big shark attack where a surfer lost her arm and stuff like that. And there were a few other shark attacks that year. And I'm out there in the water, and I actually heard my mom's voice in my head going, David, go back into land, go back into land, go back into land. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. And just kept on persisting. It's just like that voice in my head, just go back, go back, go back. I'm like, okay. So I did, and I'm standing near the shore. And then I see this big, huge shadow swim by right where I had just been standing of this big shark.
Oh, wow.
At least a 10-foot shark just swam by where and I was like, oh, whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
Like, that's not Bruce. Like,
yeah, that was something serious. So like, yeah. I was like, that could have been bad.
What about, I know for some people, what about like elevators, getting stuck in elevators? I went to the hospital one time and it was me and my son, and we actually went through the workers elevator and I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
And I was trying to push the button to go down or up and it wouldn't move. I wasn't putting up the key card or whatever. So I was like, all of a sudden, like, okay, what's going on? This is not like, you start having that panic, like,
right.
Okay, the elevator's not moving. Have you ever had any fears of that or any experiences? Or
I don't have fears of that per se, but I have been in an elevator when it got stuck with my manager's assistant. And we were at a convention, and the elevator got stuck between two floors, and he started having a panic attack because he's very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And so I saw his fear, so that kind of made it real to me. I'm like, oh wow, this is okay. I can see why this gets scary for some people because that closed-in environment. And that idea also, it could just all of a sudden drop. It's like another fear there.
That's scary.
What about insects? Any fears with spiders? And some people just like are okay with it. Some people are just like like how in the middle of the night you look at the wall and you think like there's something on the wall and you get up and you're like, okay, I thought it was a spider, but it's not.
Yeah, I'm more like cockroaches. I don't like cockroaches. I just kind of get. It was fun when I was in college. I have two cockroach stories. So one of them was like my roommate and I were just sitting there, and there's a cockroach in our room, and it started flying at us. And so we have two grown men on top of our beds, just hey, go away. The other one's like my fraternity in college. We did a haunted house every year, and one year the guys thought it would just be a good idea to have a cockroach room where they wanted to bring in Madagascar hissing cockroaches in a terrarium. And I'm like, guys, it's a bad idea. If these things get out, they're going to breed and populate our dorm. and like, no, it'll be fine. Nothing's going to happen. We'll make sure they're kept safe and everything. And of course, one night we come in to do that, and someone just knocked off the lid or something like that, and they all escaped into the dorm.
Oh no.
And so and that's what happened. We had all these Madagascar hissing cockroaches that just started breeding in the dorm, and it was just, ugh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and then so obviously with this one here, I know that you don't have the fear, but I know most people do. But before you took on the role, did you have any fears of clowns? Or
Not really. No, it's just like I would say maybe when I was like 2 years old, because I had the old Mego figures, if you remember those, of the Batman figures, and I had the Joker, and he scared me. That one figure scared me, and my mom would have to hide him from me for a while until I got over that fear.
Okay. And of course, and then this one here is just kind of, write your own fear. Like, what is, one thing that maybe I didn't cover that, does seem to get you something that gives you the heebie-jeebies sometimes?
Mine is like dark voids. I don't like open closet doors and stuff like that when I'm trying to sleep. I have to have the room, my door to my room closed. I can't sleep with it open because I don't like looking into a dark void because my mind likes to play tricks on me. It's just the dark in itself. It's very scary to me. Especially growing up in the woods in the South, is like, that can be so scary going into the woods at night alone because you just feel like there's always something watching you, at least an animal or something like that. But that you can only see so far. You don't know what's around you, and it's just your mind plays tricks on you.
Yeah, and I'm the same way where I got to shut the door, the closet, but it's also a catch-22 because it's like, now, what if the door doesn't open and you're stuck and you're like, okay, well, people don't know I'm in here.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? So you're like, you go through that sometimes too, where you can have those little panics, where you're like, okay, I don't want the door open, but then if I shut it and then there's something that's going on, so sometimes it plays tricks with me on my mind on as well. Robert, so what I'd like to do, Robert, did you have anything else that you wanted to mention, or if our Pagalachi, and if not, then we'll bring Robert back.
Well, the only other question I really had was just your thoughts on like just what's it like coming up with like the makeup, like all the in your sets that I see done in Terrifier. Obviously, you weren't using real life, like like in the bathroom scene. You weren't really, I think, but what gets goes into making some of that stuff? Like, do you know what some of the cinema special effects secrets are?
Oh yeah, like that. Sometimes we just use what's around us. Like you're talking about stuff in the bathroom.
Yes.
Of course, that wasn't real poo. But what we used is like we had pudding, and we had since we're filming in a pizza place, we actually used pizza dough and pizza crust to give that consistency to it all, and some chocolate syrup as well. And we used it. So it smelled really good in that bathroom. It smelled like a chocolate factory. It didn't look good, but those are the things. It's really cool. Like you just use what's around you. Of course, the fake blood is they have some fun recipes, and there's usually some chocolate in that. So especially if it's the mouth blood, it kind of tastes pretty good.
Oh yes.
All right, so we're going to take a little commercial break, have Robert come back, and then we're going to round it out and give Mr. Thornton the rest of his day. We really appreciate him taking the time and being here. So let's get Robert back on after this commercial break. All right.
Oh, tell Pagliacci I love talking to him.
Oh, I will.
And he actually has. He has a couple of friends too. He's got Charlie, and Eric. So he does some ventriloquism.
Oh, fun!
Charlie's over there, trying to see a little bit of.
Yeah. You must love Jeff Dunham then.
Oh, I do. Yes.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Let's see real quick if anybody in the chat has any questions for Mr. Thornton that they would like to address. Definitely, we can do that right now at this time. Like I said, we appreciate you being here today. We enjoyed it. Like I said, hopefully you enjoyed some of the things that we were able to present today as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, I wanted to make sure that we kind of covered some of the things that you did like. So we do appreciate and we do look at you as, one of the silent stars. Now, some did comedy, you do horror, you kind of brought them both together. So like I said, we definitely appreciate that a great deal. And the influences that, came from like Buster Keaton and, Mr. Bean, is awesome because we can see that. We totally can see that. So, real quick, let me just double check with the chat and see if anybody. So, Horror Collector Fiend says, "Who would you like to see the Terrifier fight against?" I don't know if it necessarily be a team up, but maybe would there be a situation where it would be a shared universe, where maybe like let's say it's a haunted house or something, and he's killing on one side and the other person's killing on the other. I don't know.
Who I see it more being like a team up or something like that. It'd be kind of fun, and I think it would be Freddy. I think that would be a fun little the two of them, because I kind of look at Art as being the bastard child of Freddy Krueger and Harpo Marx.
Oh.
So yeah.
Okay. The Frog Prince vlog asked, "What fraternity were you in?"
Oh, I was in Alpha Kappa Lambda, AKL. Yeah. Yeah, University of Montevallo.
All right, and let's see if there's just want to double check and make sure if there's any, but I didn't want to miss anybody's stuff in case. Kenneth Bird, how are you? And just saying hi to everybody. Last Catch 'em, Variety Show and Cut. Cisco, yeah, boy. That's
Boy.
it. Mr. David Howard Thornton. We have Cisco, yeah, boy. He has his channel and he does his yeah, boy. Can you give us your version of yeah, boy?
Yeah, boy.
There you go. Awesome. We love Cisco. Very good in as far as supporting Kenneth Bird. How's it going? We guys, we do have some stuff to get away as well. So like I said, we're not going to trap Mr. Thornton here. We are going to do some things here in a few minutes. But just heading out, is there anything on the horizon for you to look out for? I know Terrifier 2 is going to be coming.
Right.
And we most likely will have a trilogy, so that'll be there. So anything else that's in the works that you know about? I know with COVID kind of pushing some things back that.
Well, one of the things I actually did film during COVID, it was a small little role I had in this. Is called The Dark Offerings. It's a horror film that was filmed exclusively over Zoom during the pandemic, during the early stages of the pandemic, where we're all in lockdown here in New York, which is really cool. And it's got some names in it as well, like Felissa Rose is in it, Eileen Dietz and stuff like that. So that's really cool. Terry Alexander. So that's a fun one. But also I've been in the middle of filming it recently. And a lot of the people that were involved in Terrifier are Fuzz and the Lens guys that were Mike was the exterminator I killed that I decapitated, and his other colleagues, Steve and Jason, were the two cops. They have their own film company called Fuzz and Lens Films, and they're starting what we're hoping is going to be another horror franchise called Stream. And we have a lot of big name horror people involved in that as well. I can name one of them because I know it's already on IMDb. Is Jeffrey Combs is a big player in it, which it was amazing being able to see him work on set. So that was a privilege. I get to play one of the bad guys in it. So I play player 2. So I thought that was really funny when I started reading the book Ready Player 2 the same day I first started filming my role as player 2. So I love the irony of that. I was like, this is pretty cool.
Nice. Now the variety show Uncut, Darian, he's been in a couple of movies and stuff as well. Is that something maybe for Terrifier 3?
Yeah, definitely Terrifier 3
that people might have the opportunity to get into.
Oh, there's always possibilities for Terrifier 3 because I think each film we want to go a little bit bigger with things. So it's like I think it would be really cool to have a big, huge crowd scene with Art maybe in Terrifier 3. Who knows? Who knows?
when you sat
we're
down,
your neighbors in New Jersey, so we're actually from right across the Hudson. So
Yes.
Pagliacci says,
If you need a something, I know.
Oh, of course.
now, when you sat down with this role, did you anticipate seeing a trilogy? I mean, did you have the vision of saying, you know what, this is a character that I feel will go above and beyond, or just a one-time deal?
I did not know what to expect because I was trying to be realistic at the time because, like, okay, we're a very low budget film. We made the film on about $50,000,
Oh,
which
wow.
is unheard of in this
Yeah.
industry. It's like most low budget horror films are made for between 1 to 5 million. So we did that for a fraction of that, and so I think we pulled off a freaking miracle with Terrifier.
Yeah.
So we didn't know. We're like, well, we think the fans of All Hallows Eve might enjoy it, and maybe we'll pick up some more people. But we're like, we didn't expect to be able to compete with the big names in the genre, and so we're like, who knows, So we hoped at the time that it would be picked up and people would like it, and we could do more because we love the character. But we thought there was something special there, but we didn't know how everybody else would react to him.
Now, the one thing I did want to ask you, when he sat and told you about the clowns, and now it's not scripted, so when you're in the diner and you're doing your improv and everything, now is this something that was on the fly? I mean, did you did he say go home and think about this and come back tomorrow, or was it like, we want to see what you got right now?
Yeah, there was a lot of that. I mean, he wrote out a lot of things out, of course, in the script of what's going on in the scene, but he also let me just play as well. It's like when I'm making all the faces, he just literally just set the camera up and said, just make a bunch of faces. And so I sat there for about 5 minutes just making face after face after face, and I kept going. And they're like, oh God, yeah, cut. We should have cut like minutes ago. But they were just, I just kept going and going. They were all entertained with all the faces I was making. There's so many that did not make the cut because I just kept giving them options. And so that's what I liked about that scene. It was like, yeah, let's play around, see what we come up with. And that was, before, he wrote Terrifier before he knew me as an actor. So he didn't really write scenes in there for me to play around with. It's just, I would just bring things to it. I'll think of things like, hey, can I try this? I have an idea here. Maybe we can do this. It's like, one thing I always bring up is the bird I flick that wasn't in the script at all. That was just me messing around with my fellow actress when she was coming back to do another take, and they caught it on film. They're like, oh, that's funny.
I was just about to ask that. Usually, I hear stories like when you're filming something really dark, you have to kind of had some humor in between takes.
Yeah.
What was that like? Did you guys pull any pranks usually, or did you do anything to scare anyone?
I think Samantha has so many videos somewhere on an old phone of me just being goofy on set, just especially because like the first night she worked with me was when I was wearing the boobs.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So that was like, hi, I'm David, and these are my boobs. Welcome to Terrifier. And I was just doing so many jokes about just having to wear boobs. Like, yes, I went to school, studied teaching. This is what I'm doing now.
Well, riding the bike too, riding the little bike,
yeah.
you're riding around it. You looked like you were just absolutely just enjoying that.
Oh my gosh, that was that was a night of delirium on set because the crash that you see is a real crash. It's like I literally I was falling over so much, and we're just constantly laughing. It's like there's so many takes. There's even on like the outtakes on the DVD. There's me riding around singing "Bicycle Race." It's just...
As heading out, I mean, the one thing I do want to ask: sometimes you're in character so much you forget, and sometimes where you're filming or your locations, and you step out and you're just like, I forgot that I'm dressed in costume. Did you have any experiences where somebody's like they saw you and they're not supposed to see you, or like you guys?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's both times I've had cops called on me because I forget. I'm like, oh God. I've scared people and they call the cops and stuff like that, or like when we're filming part 2, we were doing an interior shoot in a store, and it was the sun was coming up, so people are on their way to work there here in the city. And this guy ends up walking by the door right when I'm at the door filming, and he looks and just stops and stares at me. And I kept going with the scene in character, and I did a little to him and waved. And he just kind of like looks at me and just turns his head and just walks away like, And the funny thing was our costumer was outside when this was going on, so she heard his reaction to it. He's just like, what the was that? What? No, because I'm covered in blood and those kind of things. It's
Around the time the movie was released was when we were getting those clown sightings that you remember and all that. Did any of that I would imagine that would factor into the
oh yeah
being seen inside.
It was funny too that you mentioned the clown sightings, because Mike Levy, the guy that I decapitated, he and the Fuzz and Lens guys, those are the guys that basically started that whole clown craze.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't Wrinkles the Clown like he says in his documentary. It was Mike. He was the Staten Island Clown. He was doing it a year before Wrinkles even started doing this.
Oh.
He would just stand out there in Staten Island and just freak people out, and people started picking it up after he started doing it because they were just filming his prank videos.
Oh wow! And then then it took off to a own direction.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, I appreciate you being here and taking the time. What we're going to do is we're going to have some giveaway. We're going to give some things away today. Like I said, guys, we have an opportunity. You're obviously going to end up with this amazing guy, Freddie, and you also have, Silence of the Lambs. So you have that as a pack. We're also going to, in honor of the clowns, we're going to go ahead and give the It.
Oh, fun.
And because you do like the Joker, we're also going to offer out the Joker.
Yes. That's great.
So we are going to provide that today, guys. And then also as a little side one too, just a little decal, because clowns, and scary stuff, always, they'll see you in hell or they'll see you on earth, however it works. But David Howard Thornton, we appreciate you immensely for being here today and taking the time and just spending it with us and giving us a little bit of a vision, a little background, a little bit of fun. So appreciate the time. And I don't want to hold you up because I definitely, we are going to give this away and you're more than welcome to hang out. But guys, he does have an Instagram. And also I linked in the description, there is some websites that have masks where you can order like a special mask. They're really expensive, but they're about like $600, but they look amazing.
The Immortal Mask,
the Immortal Mask, and then also the threads. You have shirts and stuff like that, some apparel, and so I think it's TerraFier.
TerraThreads does our shirts. They just got a new contract with us, so we're about to make some new shirts. And also Trick or Treat Studios does a cheaper version of the mask and a Halloween costume. And I believe later on this year they're supposed to be releasing an action figure of art as well.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Do you get to keep the costumes, or you have to give that back?
I have to give that back. Yeah.
Now usually people try to get like, hey, can I keep this iconic thing?
so something like this, they're going to make, something in the neighborhood of something like this.
Yeah, it's like a 12-inch figure,
nice.
articulated figure. So I'm very excited. That's a dream come true for me. I've always wanted my own action figure.
An action figure.
I was like, yee!
All right, and just out of curiosity, do you collect Funko Pops? Do you do it like any collectibles?
I have a few, but I don't really collect them like I want to because I just don't have room.
Well, Freddy Funko, one of my prize pieces as well is I have the Freddy Funko as Pennywise.
Wow, that's a really cool one.
Yeah,
that's really cool. I'm hoping that they start making some Terrifier ones, because I think especially after part 2 comes out, they're going to have so many options of characters that they can do. So very many variations of art as well, with the different weapons and costumes and stuff like that.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. have not had a chance to check out the Terrifier, definitely, like I said, do it, guys. We'll tell you, it's not your run of the mill scary movie,
No.
but it definitely, the performances that David Howard Thornton gets to do is amazing, and it's all you're not going to hear his voice. You're just going to see everything through his expressions, everything that he does. Absolutely amazing. But Mr. David Howard Thornton, thank you again. Appreciate it. And Robert, anything else?
No, just thank you so much. It's a pleasure to come in and hang out with us. I'm sure that Eric agrees with me. You're more than welcome to come back anytime.
Thank you.
That's especially maybe after when Terrifier 2 comes out. We could do something.
Oh, definitely. I have so much to talk about
that
I can't talk about yet.
Then he could talk a little bit more about some other things.
And I know sometimes you have interviews with Damien as well, so maybe we can get him to come on as well, and just kind of go from there. But once again, guys, so we are going to say goodbye to Mr. David Howard Thornton. I'm just going to double check and make sure there was nothing. Everybody says thank you for coming today. One hell of a movie. David, I know you've had a chance to talk to Dean Knight from YouTube on Cameo. Dean Knight is a big follower of you as well. So definitely a lot of people in the community are aware of your performances. We applaud you, and we look forward to more. So once again, guys, David Howard Thornton, and he is going to be heading out. We appreciate it. All right. And once again, I appreciate him taking the time. So guys, let's real quick, here's what you're going to do to win something. So you're going to go to Robert's channel. It's going to be linked in the description, or if we have anybody that can link Robert's channel, the last video, if you have not subscribed to Robert, please do, and make sure that you guys, I think the stream that we did, the Scream stream, and if you just hashtag Terrifier, okay, we're gonna pull some winners, and generally how we're gonna do that, just to let you know, is I am going to pull 4 winners. Okay, so the first winner is going to get first choice, and down the line, obviously, if there's something that you don't want and you want to pass it on to somebody else to win, that's fine. But once again, I'm just going to tell you, so you have the Pennywise pop pin. You obviously have the Joker pop pin, and then the 3-pack of, BAM cards. And of course, it's just the decal, see you in hell. But I mean, hey, it's one of those things, and maybe I'll throw something in extra. Who knows? Okay. But definitely, so Pagliacci, we're going to put hashtag Terrifier. And you guys go over there.
Spell it right, guys, because I know some people have trouble spelling it. It's right underneath us.
So Chris, actually, so we want to put TERRIFIER. That'll be the one. And then I'm going to pull up the comment picker. So I'm going to give you that, gives you guys some time to go over there, and then kind of go from there. Hey, Mama Dirks, how are you? Well, Mama Dirks, you can always go back on the rewind, so it's definitely worth it to go from there. So, all right. So, and Mama Dirks has a great channel. She does a lot of horror as well. I'll go random comment picker, and
2 away. Thank you guys for the follow.
And please, give Robert a follow. He works
2 away
hard.
from 100. Finally.
Let's see if we can get them to 100 guys. And I'm going to pull up that URL for you, Robert. In the meantime, Robert, why don't you tell why I'm doing that? Anybody that's going on with your channel?
Yes. So the next thing that we're going to be discussing, I actually have a friend of mine who runs her own, like she has a business that she's part of. She doesn't run it, but she has her own like branch in it that she does makeup and all. So if you guys like Pretty Woman, it's going to be Pretty Ventriloquist here in a complete little bit of a makeover on me. So it's going to do a little something different. I'm going to have her come on. And we're going to, so just stick on. If you look on my Instagram, I'll post something coming up, just trying to figure her schedule out. But I got a box that I ordered from her company that basically is like, just face rejuvenation and stuff that I'm in desperate need of. So I'm going to do that. And then we're going to talk some pop culture afterwards and see some of the things that she's into. And also we're going to be discussing how come in the last year, we've seen a lot of people just branch out into, going online and talking about products or talking about, just making some sort of public, forum or discussion or channel about a specific thing. For us, it's pop figures. Hers, it's beauty products and all. But I want to talk about, what has been this whole fascination, or why are people jumping on this bandwagon of going on YouTube and talking about things and reviewing things. So that'll be part of what the next video is going to be about.
Okay, so just give you a Jurassic Custom Collector. If you go over to that link right there, that's and you do hashtag Terrifier, then you have an opportunity to get in for a drawing. We have 4 prizes that are going to be done today. So 4 opportunities to get something, and the first person off the wheel or picked, it gets first choice, and so on. So and one of the things that I'm going to say, I would like for 1 per household if possible, guys, because I would like to have people have opportunities to win stuff.
I just want to really thank King Bob. I'm officially at 100. King Bob, thank you.
So you're going to comment hashtag Terrifier, Jurassic Custom Collector, and also subscribe, and definitely going from there. But yes. So Robert, as you hit the 100, that gives you an opportunity for your channel name, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, but what'd you guys think today? Appreciate you guys being here, hanging out. You're watching on the rewind. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed doing the interview. Robert, thank you so much for being able to come on and take part in that. This is a continuation, guys, where we will have people come on. Hopefully I'll be able to get people outside of the YouTube community as well. In March, we are going to have Nikki Suhu. She's going to come on, and she is in some movies like Stick It. She's in TV show Pretty Little Liars. She's in the movie The Lovely Bones with Mark Wahlberg. So she'll be coming on. She does some Disney voiceover as well, Shimmer and Shine, things like that. So that is just another step in the direction that In the Spotlight will be going. And then also to round it up, next Saturday, Robert, if you have not had a chance to meet this guy, so Mr. Crotchman and Taco Pops from Australia are going to be coming and hanging out with us, and we're going to be doing our baby. So we're going to have some fun with that. And then in the first week of March, we are going to be bringing on Wink Inc. Wink Inc. will be coming on. And so we'll be talking some comics and what's been going on with him. Hello, Justa. How are you? So, yes, guys. So we are going to be giving a couple of things away. So if you go to Robert's channel, subscribe, you put the hashtag Terrifier. That's going to give you guys an opportunity to win 1 of 4 prizes. And we'll just kind of go from there. Okay. So let's and once again, guys, I'm going to do this because I know we also have coming up here very shortly. Make sure that you guys do head over to for Cody and the Nerd Bar and Bearded Pop. You know, they're going to be doing it today. So definitely we'll be doing that. All right. So once again, let me go ahead and I'm going to put this in here. And we're going to go ahead and go through. We're going to get the YouTube comments. And let me double check. All right. So we have 10 comments. So guys, 10 comments on that. So anybody. So good luck. So let's see. First winner is and Nancy Cisco. So Nancy and Cisco, you guys get
Nice.
first pick. All
Okay.
right. So let's see, pick another winner. And so Cisco, so like I said, I want to be able to be fair and give to one household. So Nancy and Cisco will be picking for the first time together. So the second pick will go to the Variety Show Uncut. So Darian, Variety Show Uncut. Our third winner will be Horror Collector Fiend. Horror Collector Fiend.
Nice. Congrats.
And fourth winner, King Bob's Adventure and Collecting. All right. So I appreciate it. I really wish that we would have an opportunity to give all of you guys stuff for help, hanging out from time to time. But appreciate everybody from there. So Nancy and Cisco, you guys have first choice. And then let me make sure I write this down. Who's getting what? So I know. So we got Nancy and Cisco. And then we had Darian for Variety Show. Right? And then we had Horror Collector Fiend. All right. And then we had King Bub. All right. So, Mama Dirks, how's it going? Jeremy Knapp, thank you so much. So, do we have anything coming from Nancy and Cisco? What would you guys? You're on the clock. But yeah, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed that today. I know it's always fun whenever we can bring on some celebrities and talk shop and just be able to hang out. I enjoyed it immensely. So definitely. All right. So Pennywise. Okay. So Pennywise pen it is. So that is going to Nancy. All right. And so Darian, Variety Show and Cut. Bum, bum, bum. Oh yeah. Robert, do you want to give something out for that?
Yes, I have this ready to go.
Okay. So the Variety Show is going to take the Joker pin. All right. And so Horror Collector Fiend. Did you Chris is obviously a Pennywise fan as well. Now the Joker pins too, guys, have been popping up at GameStop, like $7. All right. So horror collector fiend. So you can get so there's this decal, see you in hell, and I'll attach something else to it too. I don't know what yet exactly. I'd have to, because I know your taste in horror, so I would attach something to it. Maybe I will look for something in regards. I would do that in general, or you can get these 3-pack cards. So it's what I'll probably do is horror collector fiend. If you would like, just let me know. We'll obviously, we talk, we'll work that out. Yes, I do like Predator. I don't have I have Predator in my other room, but I do like Predator a lot. But I also wanted to show you guys this, my little zombie. Yeah, I do like Alien and Predator quite a bit. But other than that, guys, we also, so this quiz.com, okay, this is a real quick quiz on the Terrifier and kind of things what were talked about. If you come in, like this is Robert, he's going to give something away. So he's going to be giving away something as well, right, Robert?
Yes. Also because of my 100th.
And for his 100. So if you want to take part in that, but let me go ahead and take that off real quick. There we go. But like I said, so where did... Okay, good night, Mama Dirks. We appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much. If you guys get a chance, check out Mama Dirks. She's got a great channel. A lot of horror as well. So let's see. I didn't see Horror Collector Fiend. What he said. I was looking for it.
As long as you watch the movie, you should be fine.
Sometimes you can guess too, and then sometimes you just kind of limit single elimination. But let me know. Generally, we'll go from there. So go ahead. Are you sending the quiz over?
Yeah, hold on. I did. Let me just share the.
Now this is an opportunity, guys. This is a quiz for everybody. It's open game for everybody. So even if you won something from me, you haven't won anything from Robert. So yes, you can enter. Everybody can enter. So it's open. It's I just generally, what I like to try to do is when we do hand out gifts, there are going to be some times where I might say, hey, let's just go one per household, or if you give an opportunity, just to kind of spread the love a little bit. But with something like this, you still have an opportunity to come back and win again. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to the stream. So it's real quick. It'll be joinmyquiz.com. That is going to be the code. And we'll do this quiz and round it out, guys, and kind of go from there. So, yes, you can enter, Cisco. You can enter. Absolutely, 100%. And give it a shot, guys. You never know. All you can do is give it a shot. So, I mean, if you win, you win. That's the way I look at it. But I definitely appreciate you guys being here. Supporting means a lot. And just, dropping in. These Saturday in the Spotlight streams, I try to bring somebody, in each week, and just give you guys a little bit of background of what's going on with them and where they're at. Next week, like I said, the very entertaining Taco Pops from Australia is going to be a lot of fun, him and Crotchman. And we'll also be throwing out a $25 gift card to the Outback Steakhouse in honor of the Aussie. So you'll have an opportunity. And then there's a couple other restaurants on the back of the card that's eligible for it. So we'll be doing that as well. And then it'll be a lot of fun. And I'm sure maybe when Winky comes on, I can maybe talk to him about throwing in some comic packages as well. So let's post it in the chat, Robert.
No problem. I wonder why things are not going through. I just realized.
So Just a Brat, a 1,500 follower giveaway in the near future. Yes, definitely, guys. So once again, guys, you want to make sure you enter Just a Brat. She's going to have a great giveaway right there, 1,500 follower. So definitely make sure that you guys, anytime you have giveaways and stuff, it's always fun to win, guys. We know that. I like to enter from time to time as well. And speaking of which, we're still going to be doing our 1,000 giveaway as well. And then also, I recently hit 2K on Instagram, and I'll be doing something for that as well. And so it's just a matter of figuring out what I want to put together, guys. But this is the quiz is in there, ready to go. And then Sassy Cajun has her jambalaya stream tomorrow, guys. You definitely want to get smell what's going to be cooking over there, because it's going to be amazing. Sassy Cajun is going to have a 500 sub celebration, and she's going to be doing some prizes as well. Hello, Mama J. How are you? How's it going? But that's what we're doing, guys. So it was an amazing interview. I appreciate you guys hanging out, spending some time. I feel like he pretty much enjoyed himself, and that's all I ask when they do come on, that it is something that they do enjoy. I just didn't want to leave him kind of hanging to do some of this stuff. I didn't think it was fair to do that, but so we have some giveaways that we did. And then this quiz right here, if you do the quiz, even if you want to guess, Sassy's not the Rock. Do you smell what Sassy is cooking? Hey, Funko Brothers, how are you guys? Hope everybody's doing well. Hi. But like I said, we do have, guys, just so you know, we do have this quiz that we're doing real quick, and you can try to win something. It's totally up to you. So while you guys are loading up, we got this little commercial break.
Hello. Do you like scary streams? Who's your favorite horror team? Now listen to me. Be sure to check out Scream Stream. And maybe for you there will be a bonus round. But for poor Logan and Jacob, I'm afraid they won't make the team. They've been cut.
All right, so that little promo there for Scream Stream. Obviously, we will be doing that, guys, and going over a lot of cool things down the road. We're talking about that in the works of, figuring out the right time and day, but that will be launching pretty soon and covering some of the horror stuff that's coming up this year. All right, so we have how many enough people in there right now?
I think so. Should be good.
All right, so it's totally up to you. You can go ahead and run it.
12 people. As long as you paid attention, you should be fine.
Well, let's see what happens. So, just for clarification, Robert, is it only one winner, the first whoever wins the quiz, or what are you doing?
It'll be the top winner, and just to kind of give you a little bit of wait a second, hold on. I'm just trying to pull this up here. Yeah, so it's just the top winner, just whoever gets in first place.
Hell Hydra, how are you?
Will get an Art the Clown poster delivered to them. So, where is this thing?
And yes, Chris, that was really Roger L. Jackson doing that, voicing that. I had him say those particular words. So, all right, but definitely you're ready to run it, right?
Yes, just putting it up. I'll show you the. Quiz time.
All right.
And here we go. Going in.
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck. 5, 4, 3, 2, and quiz. As long as you paid attention, you should do well. It's only 10 questions.
So, Robert,
by the way, Bob, I just want I want to do something a little nice here. Where is he? Just double checking something here. King Bob. I don't know if King Bob's still here, but if you can DM me on Instagram,
Which that means don't message me, right? DM is don't message me.
No,
Oh,
direct message me.
oh, I thought it means don't, because people tell me DM, and I'm like, oh, and you try to message me, you don't hear from them, or they don't. So I figure maybe they're saying don't message me.
Mm.
But so Hydrocomic, this is a quiz based on the stream that we just did. We had a guest, David Howard Thornton. He popped in here. He was spending some time with us, and he is known as Terrifier. He also has done some work with the Joker and some of the things that he's done. So, like I said, he has graced us with his presence today. He's done some voiceover work with some video games and some things of that nature. So we put together a quiz, for everybody that was, part of the stream, as an opportunity. So you can always take a chance on it. You can guess. If you happen to know the movie, that's awesome too. But this is him, David Howard Thornton, as his role as Jokers and the Terrifier. So.
Oh, come on. Just trying to get something here.
And this is some of his inspiration, silent film.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought before you say that.
Oh. Uh-oh.
You don't want to give you anything, giving stuff away.
Mr. Bean. So,
let's see who the winner is.
That's what we're doing. And like I said, definitely, like I said, so next week, guys, we have Taco Pops will be coming in with Crotchman for In the Spotlight. Taco Pops from Australia. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely want to check that one out. And then the following week after that is going to be Wink Inc. So Wink Inc. will be coming in, hanging out. And then we'll have the following week after that, Nikki Suhu, who was in The Lovely Bones. She did some Disney, Pretty Little Liars, Heathers. She did Stick It. So there's some stuff that she's done. Shimmer and Shine animated. She's also did Star Wars Resistance. So definitely. And then we're just kind of working our way through there.
Mm.
And it'll be a lot of fun.
Nice.
Well, Chris, if you get a chance, you may want to check it out. I know you as a fan with horror as well, and even Pennywise. It's something you may really enjoy. But just sometimes it's just taking your time and thinking it through. The Lovely Bones is definitely a good movie. Mark Wahlberg was in that. Susan Sarandon and Ronan Sars, I think is. But she played in that movie as well. So.
So I'm syncing up behind. Is that Christina?
Natural disaster movies. You want to see Greenland, which is playing free on Prime Video. Nice. Okay. So Greenland. Very cool.
Sassy in third.
But so definitely, like I said, guys, Sassy has her Cajun stream tomorrow. And she's going to be giving some stuff away for her 500. So once again, with Sassy, we do our stream on Thursdays, pop in around the world. So you definitely want to subscribe if you can.
Let's go.
All right. And we have winners.
Yes, we do. Here we go. Oh, where is this thing? I think it's not cooperating. No one else is on. Sorry, Matt.
So Variety Show said he did horrible. Horror Collector Fiend. Oh, even Horror Collector Fiend. I kind of thought he might rise to the top.
And we have Nancy in first, Christina in second, and Sassy Agent in third.
Wow, Nancy's on it. Like, hats off to Nancy and Cisco. They've been doing amazing. They support, 100%. But they come in and I mean they support in the streams and then they play these games and I mean they're on it, and that's awesome. That's how you want to do it. So hats off to them. So obviously, Nancy getting pulled from me. And so how are you doing your giveaway?
Oh, actually, I already have that. Let me just share this. Nancy, I am going to need, hold on. You have won.
Papa Willie came in fifth. Wow, Papa Willie. Well, could you imagine if you wanted to watch the stream, then you would have came in first.
Make sure my thing is popping up. I tell you.
All right, but in the meantime, guys, like I said, I thought that was also awesome how he was getting makeup the same time as Sid Haig, in the same room, and I watched a little bit of that, and that was really cool because you have, Sid Haig, obviously the icon, and it's like he said, the handing down, in regards, but clowns, do you want them in your neighborhood? You never know. What's your thoughts on clowns? How do you feel? But obviously, Mr. David Howard Thornton, great job with the role. Very scary, creepy. Obviously, nailed it. So,
for some reason, it's not letting me share my screen anymore. But let me see if I get this to you. But Nancy, you want
you could try backing out and backing back in.
Let me see what happens because after I stop sharing that, it says you're blocked from sharing. Hold on, I'm gonna leave and come back.
All right. So, like I said, guys, really appreciate it. Means a lot for you guys just to stop in and hang out. And if you're watching on the rewind, appreciate it as well. We're really close to watch hours as well, so it means a lot. And just kind of bumping it up from there. So a lot of milestones, a lot of people doing some great things. Definitely check them out. You got Mama J on Tuesday nights, Cody Popular Opinion on Monday. You have, McDorks, and Geeky Mama Bear on Monday as well. Sassy and I do popping in around the world on Thursdays. So a lot that's going on in the community, and you definitely want to make sure that you stop in, show some support, some love. We appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. And Robert, congrats 100. Keep it. Obviously Robert wants to get content going as well. So, are you able to pull it up?
No, it's still blocked. You're blocked. Click the screen icon here. Let me see if I can do this again. Connection secure.
All right.
There we go. Hold on.
But definitely, yes, Justin Brad, thank you so much for popping in. Make sure you have a great weekend. I appreciate you guys. Awesome Horror Collector Fiend. All right. And let's see here. Is it by person, by stream?
There it is. You win this Terrifier shirt. Nancy, I just need your size. If you can follow me, if you don't have me on Instagram yet, please send me. Message me the size shirt you have, and I need your obviously your contact information, and that'll go straight to you. You want a Terrifier shirt? I wonder why that wasn't letting me share it.
Yeah, if you whenever you guys watch streams, it obviously it helps. Especially as you're watching through the whole full duration, it definitely helps. So whoever's watching on the rewind, let it run. Playing in the background, whatever the case may be, it's always good to help everybody out in the community. I know Mama J knows a lot about that, as Mama J has gotten to her 1K and above, and so it's definitely something that you guys want to try to work on. But I think entering in today, I was like 260 hours, so I mean, I'm getting close, real close. So, and I'm hoping with a stream like today, and then we'll see what happens if I need to do anything tomorrow or not. But other than that, guys, I mean, hey, head on over Beer to Pop, Cody, Popular Opinion Mark the Nerd Bar. Mark the Nerd Bar himself is trying to get his hours. Him and I are like right in that same boat with the amount. And, reach out to us on Instagram if you won something today. Just as a reminder, really appreciate it. And, we'll get these out to you guys and, have some fun with it.
King Bob was number 100, and I just want to be in all fairness. But King Bob, I hope you like Godzilla. I also have this as a prize to my 100th. So King Bob, please contact me.
Wait a minute. Let me unsub and go back. Hold on a second. King Bob, let me.
So send me your information to King Bob.
Oh my God! Look at that, King
You don't
Bob.
want it, but here it is. It's King Kong. I'm sorry, King Kong. A Godzilla. How am I saying King Kong? A Godzilla board game.
All right, but guys, we appreciate it 100%. See that? See King Bob's promoting violence. He says he's going to hit you up. See that? See the King Bob doing that? I'm telling you. See, you're going to give him something, and he's promoting violence. But we appreciate it, guys. Thank you once again. Now, remember, like we always say, we're a community, a family. So keep supporting, keep moving, keep helping everybody out, keep people growing. Go check out Nancy and Cisco. They do their vlog every day. Make sure you guys hit people up. Kenneth Bird, you do an amazing job supporting. We appreciate you. Let the wings fly.
Thank you, everyone that supported.
And like I said, good job, Ace. He says, yep, you guys did a good job. Definitely. We had a lot of fun today, but, I think it's time to run, guys. Definitely time to run. And so remember, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.